Well, I believe in good vibrations is what creates a beautiful nation. All you need is the will to do right, do right, do right.
And we're live. Welcome to Anecdotally. Are you ready for Armageddon? Have you bought your iodine pills? I have not bought my iodine pills. Have you bought your iodine pills, Sean?
I've had some on hand for several years.
Yeah. So I've had so many on hand. I've lost them and had to rebuy them since 1999, about 3 months before 2000.
Yeah,
or as we called it, Y2K.
The label on the bottle has desiccated so bad that it's hard to read exactly what they are, and I figured that's about the time I need to replace them.
Mm-hmm. And let's see, 1999. That means Garrick was 3. How's it going, Garrick?
Again.
How is a reference to you being young call for?
He's acting old. He wants to be an old like us.
Can't hear you with all these years in my ears. It's been a long time coming.
I'm so old I get eye infections now.
Hey. I'm advanced for my age. Maturity. Dude, I tell you what, dude, I will take that fucking swollen eyeball over pink eye any day.
Well, I guess they're treating this like it is pink eye. It's an infection. I've got antibiotics now. So that's fun.
It's not that worse than, like, your eye hurting, and then they're like, place cold or warm water, because that's the difference. If it's bacterial, you use cold water. If it's viral, you use warm water. And I don't know why there's a difference. Like, swelling should be swelling. But, yeah, there's a difference. And trust me, you'll know if you put on the wrong one.
I did that yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bacterial because I put on the warm one and screamed.
Yeah, dude. Oh. I don't know what but it's so often I don't go like, is it fever, starve? No, it's cold bacterial, warm viral. I know it for certain. Which
Sean, Josh advises that you wash your hands after you poop.
That's great advice. If you're all interested, the reason I got it is because Friday night I went out and I was doing a good deed. And I was helping the local charity unload their trailer of pumpkins.
You were way too slow.
Wait, you were doing
No, she's like,
what do you got? Pumpkin pie eye? Is that what this is called?
It's pumpkin pie. Yes.
yeah, I laid down the
pumpkin pie.
I was going to fucking play.
So what I was doing was unloading a trailer of 9,000 pumpkins and
Good Lord.
the hay packing that they were all packed with. Did that for about 3 hours, and a dust storm blew in while that was happening. So I got all kinds of junk in my eye from doing a good deed. And by the way, I do not recommend unloading 9,000 pumpkins fireman brigade style.
You mean water bucket style?
My abs hurt and have hurt for 3 goddamn days.
Yeah. There's no one survives that. That's it's either abs or the shit. What are the radials? The
the ones on the side.
Lats? No, not lats. It's lower.
The lats are on the back. It's whatever the twisty muscle is on the side of your abs.
If I could see them, I would remember their names, but still sporting that keg from last winter and every winter before that. Uh, well, somewhere at least, right? Seems as if Sean has abs. Well, yeah, somewhere.
Yeah, so no good deed goes unpunished. This is just...
No, you're thinking of traps, by the way.
Yeah, sure.
Obliques. Thank you, Steven. No.
No, that's on the back, isn't it? I don't know. Yeah, I may not be as skinny, scrawny as you are, Steven, but I am by no means large and in charge.
I am in charge. This is my show. So before we go anywhere, we got the no, Steven's right. Obliques. Another term for slash? I don't think so. So Edge of Tomorrow. I have not seen this movie, but have wanted to see this movie for like 3 years. Since I heard it was like futuristic Groundhog Day kind of thing.
I'm
haven't
kind
seen
of in the same boat and still haven't managed to actually watch it.
No, I have an alert
But
and
it's such a
everything.
good movie.
I have an alert and everything set up for it, and like at some point, I'm just gonna go through dollar stores for it. But I'm just not paying $3.99 for it. I'm scrawny because they can't eat lunch with me. Wow, way to make our only audience member feel accepted. Like fucking Steven with his thin waist, him and those Ethiopian bastards.
Well, I mean, aren't all gay guys skinny as fuck?
You never heard of bears.
Actually, I have, and that came to mind as those words were falling out of my mouth.
Oh yeah, the fat gays. I remember those now.
I actually worked with one who did gay porn.
Ew. All the ew.
Yeah. I was like, okay, more power to you. You want to see it? Certainly do not. Nope,
No.
not at all.
No.
I can prove it to you. I'm like, I trust you on that one. Have fun with that.
No, nobody lies about doing porn. It's the it's the quality that is the question, not whether or not you do it. Most gays at Pride were flabby. Learn something new every day. So, what Garrick did you think of Edge of Tomorrow? Because I'm going to watch it. I don't care what your opinion is, but
All this acceptance is making the gays lazy.
you don't have to run anymore. That's it. Apparently, closets are getting bigger. They're no longer the lockers they once were. It's easier to fit in now. Garrick?
Yeah, I give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Still gonna watch it.
So it's better than average, is what you're saying, but only just.
Oh, sure. It's definitely better than average. It's not great, but it's definitely watchable. It's a popcorn movie.
What does Big Red think, since he's there? Let's just start.
Good on.
It's an okay movie. It's like a 3.5 star.
Can you do halves, people?
So
Round up.
we
It's
can,
4.
well, fine. Round it up to 4 then if we're going to do half.
Well, and that begs the question: is it a round up or is it a round down?
You always round up. If it's anything above a 3, it goes to the next one. For instance, Lavalantula, 2.
Well,
Or,
you got
or 2 lava, 2 lantula. 2.
Okay, those are, if you think about them in a different way, you got to think about them as Police Academies 10 and 11.
No, I mean a little bit, but no, they didn't have anybody new. Well, they did, but they didn't have like 2 lava, 2 lantula had Martin Cove from Karate Kid,
Yeah.
and oh god, they shoehorned in some language that it's like we're aiming for the back and we can't get it. Try the leg, sweep the leg. I'm like, nope, you pulled something stretching for that one.
Yep.
It's got 8 of them. It's a spider. But he was the only person of note. So it's not. I enjoy all of the cameos in Sharknado, and I expected that from Lavalantula because of the original Lavalantula. It wasn't. It was the same cast instead of Mia Peebles. I think it was Mia Peebles, whatever her name was. It was her daughter this time around.
Wow, that's scraping.
Yeah. Well, it isn't even her real daughter. It was just actress daughter of no import. And there was just nobody. You didn't come across there was a guy who faked being Alligator Dundee, and it's no, the quality of your characters is not the problem with this movie. The movie is the problem with this movie.
Was Gutenberg in it?
Gutenberg was in it. So was Jabberjaw Jones and Hooks. No one else from the cast, the original cast,
Well,
and just the
dead.
Hightower
And
Zackleberry. I don't know.
Tackleberry's dead, and I think
Is Easterbrook dead?
I think the chick's dead. The drill sergeant. What was
Easterbrook. Leslie Easterbrook.
Yeah, I think she's dead too.
I mean, what's his name still alive? Not Lassard, of course.
No, yeah.
What's his name? I can't think of his name. But
yeah, I know who you're talking about. The bad sergeant. What the hell is his
I think both the bad sergeants are still alive. Police Academy film series. Cast. Yeah. Leslie Easterbrook is alive. I think she was in the first one for a hot second. Yeah, she was so beautiful.
I always forget that Kim Cattrall's in the first one.
In the first one, yeah. David Graff died in 2001 in Phoenix.
That's Tackleberry?
Yeah. Los Angeles, California, 2011 for Hightower, Bubba Smith.
Yeah.
But you kind of expect big dudes to die early. Bobcat Goldthwait is alive, but no one cares. No, not even a little bit.
Well, that
Sharon
shtick is,
Stone apparently was in one?
is of its time. Sharon Stone was in one?
She's in the cast. JW or GW Bailey, who played, it doesn't have his name, unfortunately. He's alive, and probably the oldest cast member who's living. He was Harris, Thaddeus Harris. He's also Sergeant Rizzo in MASH, but Lieutenant and Captain Thaddeus Harris in Police Academy films. He's 78.
Good for him.
I don't know who Sharon Stone was in it, but she comes up before Lassard, Colleen Camp, who I don't even remember being in one, and Hooks. David Spade, don't remember.
David Spade?
Ron Perlman?
What are they in, 6 and 7 or what? Because
Possibly.
I stopped watching after 3.
Commandant Mauser. That was the other guy, and he died He died last year, September 8th, 2021. But they did him dirtiest. They super glued his hair to his head. Yeah, I don't remember some of these people. Matt McCoy, I remember him from 4. Claire Furlani, I don't remember her. Christopher Lee.
I can believe that. Yeah.
I remember.
Did everything anybody ever asked him to do, he said yes to.
Yeah, you're making it sound. I mean, yeah, but.
Yeah, unless there was a scheduling conflict, Christopher Lee said yes.
Yeah. Howard Heisman, I remember him. Uh, the commissioner, yeah. Some of these guys, though. Dean Norris. I don't remember Dean Norris, but I'd have to watch him again for that. But some of them, Blue Oyster Dancers. Yeah, there we go. Allison Mack played a little girl in one of them, apparently. But yeah, I don't remember Sharon Stone, David Spade, or Ron Perlman, or Colleen Camp.
I forgot the female sergeant's name.
Hooks or Callahan?
Callahan. I could see Sharon Stone playing the role of Callahan if the actress for Callahan didn't want to do it.
Maybe in like 86 or something.
Yeah, like way back when. Like maybe the early 90s. Like
No,
before Basic Instinct.
Basic Instinct was 92.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to look her up to see when she did a Police Academy. It'd be fucked up. She was just like The Voice or something. But I assume I will be scrolling back a ways in her career of 151. So not a bad one. Okay. 95, we got Casino. She was an episode of Roseanne, Quick and the Dead, The Specialist, Intersection, Enigma, Roots of Roe, Last Action Hero, where she played what's her name coming out of the same chick she played in Fatal Instinct, where she showed her crotch off. She was walking out of the police office, the police department.
Yeah.
Total Recall, that's 1990. Tears of Rain, Badlands, Above the Law. Forgot about that. I forgot about Action Jackson, which was 1998.
You didn't forget about Action Jackson. You just
I forgot.
She was
yeah.
in it.
Oh, Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol.
I could have sworn Citizens on Patrol was number 3, but okay.
No. Yeah, she might just be a photos. Yeah, she's right fucking there.
Was she one of the new cadets?
Yeah, she was a new cadet. And David Spain was one of those douchebags at the beginning that got sentenced to Citizens on Patrol. One of those two kids that looked like they were straight out of Miami Vice.
Right.
Yeah. Them and like Bobcat Goldthwait just showed up. I could have sworn Citizens on Patrol was 3 as well. I thought 4 they went to Miami. So
yeah,
we're gonna have to
Bobcat Goldthwait showed up as the bad guy in number 2. And I think it was number 3 he became a cop, right?
Yeah. All right. We got Police Academy in 1984. Police Academy 2. Police Academy 2, their first assignment. Police Academy 6, City Under Siege. That's one I thought was 5. So 3 is Back in Training. So Lassard's still in it. I love Lassard. Tackleberry, Hooks, Leslie Easterbrook. This time it's Mauser. Sweet Chuck, Bobcat Goldthwait is a cadet, so he was a cadet in 3. So yeah, so Copeland,
So
who used
I stopped watching after 4, apparently.
I saw 6. Proctor is still in it. Tochi, cadet Nogata. Yeah. Oh, that kid who had the Kirkland, who had like the very the entire family was fucking abusive. where it's like, "Hey, Pops!" and he just straight up punches him in the face, and they're like, we're the giant fucking abusive family on the block." I don't think I saw 5, which is Assignment Miami Beach. But it didn't have Mahoney. It had Matt McCoy, but it had Harris, Lassard.
In Search of a Paycheck.
Yeah, at that point, the dad was the mayor of Miami. The dad from Teen Wolf. Speaking of, later we will be talking about our favorite werewolves, and he is one of my favorite werewolves. The dad from Teen Wolf.
Okay.
With the glasses. It looks like he's practically a pug. "I'm a vicious killer." "No, I'm a pug. I'm a pretty little pug. Rub my belly."
The movie Teen Wolf or the show?
The movie Teen Wolf.
It's been a long time since I've bothered watching that.
James Hampton, like Michael J. Fox is having the issue, and he's like, "You wouldn't understand." And he opens the door, and his dad just wolf in regular clothes still, nothing
Right.
torn. He's just in his dad clothes with his glasses still on. Like, shouldn't your eyesight improve? Isn't there a healing factor in werewolfing?
Wish I was a werewolf right about now, and that would help.
My one eyebrow. I know. I think that every time I stub my toe. Why couldn't I be thwarted with the lycanthropic virus right now? What death during sex scene from any movie would you prefer for yourself?
Death by Snoo Snoo. I have no idea.
No, God, no. That's a punishment and a half. All those large women with larger vaginas. I can only think of a few, and they're usually in Friday the 13th movies. So I really want to pass.
Did either of them die during the sex scene and shoot him up? No, they didn't.
The sex scene and shoot 'em up. Are you sure you're not thinking of Drive Angry?
No, I'm thinking of Shoot 'em Up when he's literally in a gunfight while they're having sex.
I don't remember the but the prostitute that still has milk.
Yeah.
Was that Maria Bella? No, not Maria Bella.
It was the chick from Firefly.
Was it Maria Bella? Or no,
Whatever her name is. I'm pretty sure that's her.
Summer Galoo.
No, it wasn't Summer Glau. It was the other chick. The
it's
prostitute.
Glau first off.
Yeah, it's the prostitute from Firefly.
No, it's Monica Butticelli,
Bachrane or whatever her name is. Yeah.
Monica, yeah, she's the chick from the second Matrix movie.
I'm bad with names. This is where Steven needs to jump in.
Yeah, but you're not right with faces either. I didn't see Firefly, but I think you're thinking of the girlfriend in Deadpool.
Yes, same chick.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Yeah, that's who I'm thinking of.
Marina Bassarin, yeah, no.
Am I correct on that? I'm pretty sure she's in Shoot 'em Up.
No, that's Monica Bellucci, Buccicelli, whatever the fuck her name is.
Okay. Again, I'm terrible with names, so.
Monica Bellucci, whatever that is. That's who it is.
Monica Bellucci. Yeah.
I don't remember a sex scene, but I remember the sex scene in. There should have been a sex scene because they cut the umbilical cord with a freaking gun. But yeah, there should have been a sex scene with some gunfire.
They literally they're having sex and they they don't
Where?
stop.
Where are they having sex?
They are having sex in a hotel room, and they get ambushed in the hotel room. They don't stop having sex while he's returning fire.
Okay, now I got to find out because that same thing happens in Drive Angry. So I got to find out which one happened first. So Shoot 'Em Up is 2007. Drive Angry 2011. So Drive Angry stole that from. He also got Out of Hell, too. There's a weird getting out of hell part to it, but had William Fincher in it and David Morse from that thing that was sent to the chat the other day about you don't know their names, but they're in everything.
Right.
Mark McCallie should have been on there too, but he's not in that as much. But it's just it's not coming to me. No pun intended. But did you give it any thought? So dying during a gunfight with the they're also in Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Unlike the first one, well, the second one technically, the Desperado, she's singing a song to him, playing his guitar that she bought for him.
Yeah.
And he kicks her out of bed and starts shooting everybody. It's during the sex during
Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Yeah. Then Johnny Depp loses his eyes and runs around with a frickin' silenced revolver. Which, by the way, looks incredibly badass and upsetting to me. It's not real. Speaking of upsetting things to me, I don't want to talk about the Darryl Brooks trial because that is upsetting to me. I explained it to Steven.
I can't watch it.
This dumbass. I was like, do you know what hearsay is? You know what hearsay is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't.
No, he does. He's just an idiot.
So that means he doesn't if he's an idiot. But yeah, he's saying like I gotta look it up just to quote it like precisely because it was so stupid. He the prosecution asked the officer on the stand, where if there where he was at a certain time, and he put, objection, hearsay. I'm like, he's stating his own location. Hearsay is when you're repeating something that was told to you that you did not witness. And there's even times when you can repeat something that was told to you if you're because you did witness what was told to you. So if it's just a statement of fact on the conversation that was being held, that's not hearsay.
Right.
But if you're saying
conversation might be hearsay, but your testimony about the conversation is legitimate testimony.
Yes. What you witnessed in that conversation can be. But another time, prosecution asked if there were roadblocks at the end of the street, and he said, objection, hearsay. I'm like, that's not fucking hearsay. Like, he would have been able to see it.
All this cat has to do is make this such a goat rodeo that when an actual lawyer team goes for the appeal, because they will, it will either be declared a mistrial or just nullified completely on appeal.
Well, they're doing their best to not allow that to happen. both the prosecution and the judge are making comments on the record about his articulation, his well-placed articulation in a court paperwork, and the intelligent questions he asks, and the proper use of decorum, and they cite specific times and things, and his penmanship, and they go out. It almost sounds like they're sucking up to him, which a novice wouldn't understand what is happening because they're not privy to the ins and outs of the courts and the appeals process. But it would almost sound like they're fans of him. But man, they need to think of a new word besides articulate, because they overuse it by a great margin.
Is he clean and articulate?
He was today. He wore a suit today. He wasn't wearing a suit last week because he claimed he had COVID, and he didn't want to wear a suit and get COVID on a suit if he had COVID. And I'm like, that's not how anything works.
That's not how any of this works. Yeah, no, he's
nothing you said.
Again, like I said, he is going to do anything. All he needs is some liberal, bleeding heart fucking fool to take up the case, or some hungry lawyer that wants to take up the case after he gets convicted, because let's face it, he's going to get convicted, because he's guilty as sin, I believe is the appropriate terminology for that. Guilty as sin. But when an actual lawyer wants to make a name for themselves, picks up the appeal, this guy's just going to be a burden on the system for the next 40 years.
Yeah. There was a time in which I thought this guy might be so stupid that he legitimately ran over people attempting to escape a threat and not attempting to kill white people. Even though he was steering clear of vehicles to keep going, which is an argument for it wasn't like the brakes going out or something. But he just, like, this guy might be so stupid that he thought this was acceptable. But no, he's such a piece of shit, and
yeah,
I'm disappointed that there's been 150 years since the last death penalty case in Wisconsin.
Well, I want his eventual murderer just acquitted outright once he's murdered.
Yeah. But on the other hand, if there had been a death penalty in the state of Wisconsin, Kyle Rittenhouse would have been up for it. They would have pushed for the needle in the electric chair in his arm chamber. Squad.
You see that, speaking of Rittenhouse, you see that Grosscuts tried to file a motion to change his name?
Yeah. And it speaks to the discretion of the court that it was immediately revealed. I'm like, what was it though? Like, is he trying to change his name to Gage Grosscuts because everyone keeps calling him Lefty?
If he doesn't rename himself Lefty, he's missing a golden opportunity.
Gage Lefty Grosscuts. Yeah, I'm sorry, buddy.
Unfortunately, his name was Gage and not Caliber.
Mm-hmm. You were a 10 on the fuck around and a 10 on the find out.
Oh, I didn't watch yesterday's show till this morning, and I didn't find that guy all that humorous because it's a ripoff of the unicorn thing.
Or the Crazy Hot scale, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought he was derivative to begin with, but apparently he's made a big splash for himself, so good for him.
Well, yeah, because they're too old for the unicorn measurement. The Crazy Hot scale. You want to find a 5. 7, but only 5 crazy. Because Amber Heard is also a 10 on both scales. Back to drive angry she was in that.
Oh, I thought we were going back to the trial.
No, God, no, I don't want to visit that at all. I don't even want to talk about anything.
Drive-in.
I'd rather,
Same thing.
I'd rather go over slasher horror tropes than I would favorite werewolf in a movie. I actually do have an article about.
Mine would be Joe Estevez.
In
Werewolf.
Oh. I mean, I like Jack Nicholson in Werewolf, or in Wolf. Benicio del Toro, also in Wolf. But Underworld had pretty good werewolves. I think my least favorite werewolf on any scale is the Harry Potter werewolf.
Lupus?
Yeah, Lupin. I did not care for him at all.
What do you think
Dog
about
Soldiers?
Van Helsing's werewolves?
I liked Van Helsing as a werewolf. I liked Kate Beckinsale more.
Well, yes.
I didn't care for the bestial Dracula, but I did. One of my favorite Frankensteins, that's for sure, was Van Helsing. I didn't care for the little baby vampires; those were stupid. But probably I would go with probably Underworld. Yeah. Or Dog Soldiers. Dog Soldiers were good too, and they were practical. That's such a weird movie, Dog Soldiers, for having such a low budget, but they went around and they talked to the actors individually, and they got some pretty good foreign-born actors for that movie. But did I tell you I saw Monsters?
You did. You mentioned that last week.
They had a Nosferatu in it as well, and he was very reminiscent of Nosferatu. So I mean, actual kudos on that little bit right there. But other than that, god awful movie. And there was a werewolf in that too. That was just person in the fur mask.
I don't know why anybody thinks Rob Zombie makes good movies. He doesn't.
Yeah. I saw Danielle Harris. She was sitting down to watch the first Halloween movie with her kid, and I'm like, "What the fuck? You got murdered naked, woman." Maybe don't watch that with your child. You got murdered naked twice because you survived the original one and got slaughtered a second time, also naked. I don't think she was naked both times. I think she was naked the first time, though. Yeah. No, I think she was naked both times. Which is hard because I remember her from The Last Boy Scout. And half a dozen other movies where she was 12 to 15. But who do you have for favorite werewolves?
I don't know. The original Wolfman. Don. What is his name? From the Warner Brothers, the classic ones.
Are you gonna get it or?
What is his name? Don. I'm not. I'm not gonna get it, and that's terrible because he's like super famous for it. Bye, Garrick. I guess. Or welcome back.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button.
Push the wrong button, did you?
It's not Lon Chaney, is it? It's Lon Chaney. Damn
Yes,
it.
it is. Yes, it is.
Like, not Dom. It's Lon. Lon Chaney.
Yeah.
Uh,
I was like, I don't know if he's gonna get it.
on the plus side, I didn't even have to look that up. I did eventually get it.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I don't know. My favorite werewolf, Michael Jackson from Thriller. Going with it.
Yeah.
Final answer. Sticking with it. Suck it.
Was Michael Jackson a werewolf in the trailer? I know his eyes glowed.
Yeah, they made him aware of it. It's part of the movie scene. It's not actually the he's it's not the video of where he's singing the song. It's the preamble movie. He turns into a werewolf while he's on the date with the girl.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I I like this cameo in Men in Black too. I was like, yeah. If I could picture any celebrity. Who was technically a werewolf. I thought he was a ghoul because it just.
Well, and that's just it. During the song, he's a zombie. Like during the dance routine, he's a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
But in the movie part, when he's on the date, he turns into a werewolf.
Oh yeah, he full out. He's in a Leatherman's jacket. He turns into a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
The more you know.
I don't have that sounder.
Mm-hmm. Garrick, you got any for us? Yeah, understandable. It's not like these things are scheduled or anything. All right, well then, fuck Garrick, and we'll move into the top 10 tropes of horror movies.
Black guy gets it first. That's number one.
That's not the case, though, but it should be, because I am from Detroit, and I will tell you in no uncertain terms, I have seen a brother just fucking out.
Yeah, I have too.
They
do not play. They're out.
Yeah. Like I have seen,
you either
like
get them
I've
first
literally,
or you don't get them at all.
Yeah, exactly. That's literally what happens in Steven's favorite Night of the Demons. Is shit starts going wrong, and the black guy's like, you know what? I'm gone, and he's just for the rest of the movie he's hiding in the car, and he survives, by the way, and that's the early '80s. But no, I'm talking about they stood in line for an hour and a half for a haunted house, and then they let you in groups, like the people you go with. You might have like 6 or 8 people, like 8 people at max. And me and my date and my friend and his date, we'd go in as a group, and then we would eventually run into 2 or 3 black women scared to death to move forward and abandoned by the men that brought them there. And for the rest of the walk in the I would be inundated with black bitches just surrounding me, clutching on me, screaming their damn heads off in my ear holes. Because they do not play. I've had a guy run away from me while holding a card that I had them pick and find in the deck themselves. And they're like, the black magic, and just fucking gone. That is why when you see a David Blaine magic on the streets, there's a lot of black people involved because they will lose their shits like 6 times harder than anybody else. And a certain amount of like white girls, they're instead of being impressed, they're confused. So the least you want is a pretty white girl. If you get a pretty black girl, they're the best. But also athletes. If you can get an athlete, they're prone to stay, but still flip out. So the more you know, again. But no, that's not one of the tropes, because there's they either do get it first, which is an honest to God thing, or they survive. And it kills me when they say that about, in particular, like Friday the 13th Part 5, where they kill Demon and his girlfriend. I'm gonna get you, bitch. Goddamn enchiladas. They kill both him and the grandfather, but Reggie survives the whole time. If you give me an instance of a horror movie with a black guy, aside from like a Tales from the Hood, there's a greater chance they survive than they do not survive. Strictly for like comic effect. But there was a time in like the mid or early 90s and where they tried to make the actors, like, it was a very short period, but they tried to make the actors more likable, which I appreciated, but they really should learn their lessons. Like developing character is one thing, but just throwing in like that somebody's pregnant or something, I didn't care for that. Like, that was part 3. There's just a regular, just a random pregnant girl. It's like, can you give me a reason to care about this bitch? Because I don't have one. But then they have movies like Stay Alive, and no one in that movie is likable. Like, the entire cast is just fucking awful. Like, are you telling me this whole movie and Frankie Muniz is going to survive? Bullshit.
I didn't like him and Malcolm in the Middle. Root for his death there too.
I didn't watch this whole movie for Frankie Muniz to live through it. Which, by the way, he's in a Sharknado. He doesn't. You are welcome. But probably one of my favorite Black Deaths in horror. Or
oh my God.
Oh no! You'll agree with me if you've seen the movie. Samuel L. Jackson, Deep Blue Sea.
Mid-sentence gets eaten by a shark.
What's it called? Rallying the troops' emotional I don't know, monologue, I guess, speech. Yeah. Yeah. And he gets fucking eaten. That is my favorite death.
By a bad CGI shark.
Yeah. Oh, you know. There's 3 of them. I haven't seen the last 2, but there's 3 of them now. Are you sure there's 3? Yeah, there's 3.
I almost thought you were going to go for Deep Impact. I was like, fair. Or not Deep Impact. Event Horizon. But that's Lawrence Fishburne, if I'm not mistaken.
That is Lawrence Fishburne, yeah. Samuel Jackson was in Sphere, and he survived.
Yeah, the Sphere, the movie Sphere, was so not like the book that I was pissed.
Oh, thank God I haven't read the book.
See, I had read the book, and then I tried to watch the movie, and the movie is just so different that I didn't like it. I was just mad the whole time.
But then again, was there any? I'm trying to think. Like, are there any black people in Texas Chainsaw Massacre? And I don't think there is one until like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. Well, the one with Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey, yeah, and that's freaking Kevin Fiore. So Uh, he had to get in there at some point. And then the latest reiteration where with Alexandria Daddario, her boyfriend was black, and Leatherface murders the shit out of him. So depending on the timeline, he's the first, but that's if you're not counting 3, 4, and 5.
I don't count any of them. I mean, they're all just popcorn munchers. If you're going for continuity with any, they're worse than comic books as far as continuity goes.
Okay, so the first of the cliches, the ones that actually bother me, is, and this is depending on if they set it up right or not, the car won't start. Now they do it right in Friday the 13th, part 2. The psychologist, the child psychologist who has the shitty Jeep that won't start when there's not problems.
Right.
Yeah. Like, you got a shitty car. That happens. And in
the other legitimate way is to have somebody have ripped out the wires or something, you know.
Yeah. Or in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one with Jessica Biel, they didn't have keys to the car because the guy with the keys was the first one slaughtered. No, he got arrested. He was eventually slaughtered, but Hoyt arrested him. Like those make sense. But there was one in part 5 of Friday the 13th when the car didn't start, and that was, they were on the side of the road already. So it was those 2 greasers, and one of them came up with that song that was totally ad-libbed about the car not starting. I could have done without that song. Car's not starting, motherfucker's not starting. Like, hey, I've heard better songs. Shut up, you jamook. But yeah, if you don't have a reliable car, I think the only thing that could be worse is if you get in your car and you start it and you only like barely take off and it dies from being out of gas. I'd be like, come on. Which I think happens in one of the Evil Deads. It stalls out on the
first one.
Yeah, it stalls out on the bridge.
On the bridge, yeah.
I'm like, how did you plan to survive? Not an event. It's the 80s. There's no cell phones.
Well, yeah, and the whole thing is Ash was such a dog that he was planning on running out of gas so that he and his date would have to sit there and make out.
Yeah.
He's going to bang her.
Yeah, well. Plans of mice and men. The number 2, and this has been happening more and more, and I hate it. And which is funny because this is actually a Blumhouse list, and Blumhouse is one of the best I can accuse of it, is excessive jump scares. And there are times like there's a jump scare in The Mummy 2 where they're building up tension for no reason. It's not a scary scene. It's just a quiet scene where there could be something happening and nothing is happening, but they're waiting for something to happen, so they build up and have a jump scare. It breaks the tension nicely, and it reminds everybody this is a comedy. But the thing that bothers me about it is Rick, played by decent-sized man, Brandon Fraser, is walking backwards, and he turns around face to face with his 8-year-old son. His 8-year-old son should not be face to face with him. But they and they pull apart. And again, he's chest height from then on because he was standing on an apple box. But there are times in which the jump scare can be good. Like the jump scare happens, and you release the tension, and then immediately the attack happens, and that is good. But there's just sometimes they just use it, and it just kills everything. All the buildup for no reason, and the See No Evil burger. Yeah, See No Evil is like one of the least favorites of mine. But they have it's actually from Blumhouse, from the Insidious movies. I think it's Insidious, called the Bagul Scare. And it's at the end of the movie, a creature still survives, and it turns towards the camera and lurches at you. It's like, what the fuck is that? Did they just break the fourth wall? Would it lurch for no reason? It's just stupid.
Well, they basically do that at the end of the best movie ever. Except it doesn't break the fourth wall. Well, I mean, it kind of breaks the fourth wall, but it doesn't lurch at you.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's a reveal. It's not a Bagul scare. But it's I mean, that was a second. It took me to get there. I was like, oh yeah, no, definitely not. Bad cell phone reception is number 3, which is a relatively new one in the horror genre. Because
well, you kind of have to. I mean, you kind of have to make a movie that's going to last longer than 20 minutes. The cell phones can't work. That's kind of something you have to address.
Well, I mean, depending. Like, you can't have working cell phones in Saw, or you're locked in a building. You can't have a working cell phone then, because 911 will trace your call. But they do. I don't even care for this movie. It's called It Follows, which really I just call it's an STD, a sexually transmitted demon. Yeah. But it takes place around high school, college age kids, and there are parents involved, but like it's something so crazy you can't involve them anyway. So something like a Freddy Krueger, cell phones wouldn't work because they're in a dream. But even in a Friday the 13th, spawny cell phone service is a thing at a lake. There's a certain direction, lakeward, that's not going to have cell phone signal because it's a big lake. You're missing one of the corners. But I can't particularly think of a movie that really uses cell phones besides the signal, maybe. But there's interesting uses of them in 2012. There's a cell phone issue. They fail to use it, but in Jeepers Creepers. But I think it'd be really creepy to be in a horror movie and like the line is perfectly clear the entire call. You're like, what fucking service are you on? And let's not forget, the Scream franchise completely revolves around cell phones. At least on the killer's end. because that call is not resonating from inside the building. It's coming from inside the house. So they give examples. You're Next, which I don't remember, and 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I haven't seen. But I was recently told that 10 Cloverfield Lane is not a found footage film. So it'll be seen soon because I didn't enjoy Cloverfield. I just do not like found footage.
I don't like shaky cam. I'm okay with like found footage and it being a little bit jittery from time to time, like when it makes sense. But when the whole thing you're watching is just your eyeballs jittering in your skull, like the Blair Witch Project or Cloverfield or the old Battlestar Galactica,
What's
can't watch it.
on the gimbal? Yeah. What? There's one, and it's well, there's two actually. One is Jerusalem, where the girl is wearing. They call it Google Glass. So it's from her perspective,
Right.
but it's not like shaky cam.
I could probably do that.
Yeah, and then I think is it VH? No, not VHS. Not VHS is the compilation. Quarantine is a mixture of a cameraman, a professional cameraman, and CCTVs. So it's first person visually, but you're not having to deal with bullshit like shaky cam. Also Hardcore Henry. It's a first person, but you get like a little shaky cam when the person's running, but other than that, it's pretty freaking. Dark Basements Galore is number 4. I can agree with that. Like I'm thinking of I've been watching. I stopped watching, but I've been watching Outer Range. Outer Range, with Josh Brolin.
Oh, is that the one on the ranch?
Yeah, and I just got tired of it after the second episode. I stopped.
So it's not good, is what you're saying?
And like everyone said, it was good. I just like I'm for a slow burn, but not that slow, not that burn.
Okay.
But it was far too dark, far too often. And I get that. Then their examples are Misery, which is kind of funny. Get Out. The only thing I remember about Dark and Get Out was the
Cast.
Darkies. Yeah. But yeah, I do not like leaving it up to the imagination is for books. I want to see it on the screen. So there are parts of movies like The Descent, The Cave, See No Evil. Dark is just dark. I don't care for that. The Relic, the entire movie, The Relic, is too dark. Like Mimic takes place in a sewer system with no lights and can be lit better than your movie. I don't care for that. Like, have more money. The basement in Cabin in the Woods is lit up.
Well, okay, so are these tropes for horror in general, or like slasher specific, or like, because like I like a dark movie if it's creepy dark, but like it doesn't work for me in slasher movies.
Yeah. Well, even though that's part of the slasher. And what bothers me about slasher movies in particular is, all right, Chucky's a slasher. You know, he comes in, he cuts, he goes out, he comes back and focuses on your weaknesses. Jason is a fucking tank. Mike Myers is a tank. Like, these are giant fucking dudes that can go head to head in melee, and they're playing the parts of rogues. It's bullshit. And the only reason Freddy makes a cut is because he's got freaking finger knives that do slash. But this next one is particular to slashers in general. And I don't like it that it's a trope, because it's fairly it's a reasonable one. Falling female protagonists. I've watched 30 fucking years of America's Funniest Home Videos, and it's every episode's got someone starts off running and falls. Professional people who run for their job still fall running. Add not flat terrain, and you are bound to fall in a fucking forest. There's the fastest way to get through a forest is not run, it's more of a gallop. And that is putting as much space between your feet landing on the ground as possible, because you're bound to trip in either a pothole, over a root, or around a slippery patch of something or other. Falling fucking happens. So when they make comments about Evil Dead or A Quiet Place, like, they're not falling on a road in, like, The Fucking Happening. Or World War Z in an office room. They're falling in the fucking woods. That's where you fall. Occasionally, falling on stairs is a thing that happens as well. Those things happen. Add in your heart pounding, and it's bound to happen.
Dude, I fall down my own steps once a month.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and women also tend to wear the wrong shoes.
Yeah.
So you got that.
So this trope
Well,
is actually...
Well, it's a trope, but it's not exclusive to females either, though. I mean, I've seen plenty of slasher movies where the dude falls too. Because
They usually get up, though.
yeah, they do.
It's much rarer, but women will start crawling backwards while facing their attacker. And this isn't so much the trope. I think the trope is running from a walker and them catching up to you. I think that's really the trope. Or at least bothers me more. Maynard's the slowest, smoothest way. Yeah, not wrong. That's why they don't fall over. Although that would be hilarious every once in a while to just bite it. Literally hockey face to the ground and a bounce. That'd be hilarious. Running away from the killer upstairs. There are occasions
Looking at you, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Looking at you, Nev fucking Campbell, who points out that flaw 3 minutes before you take the flight up the stairs. Big-titted Bilbos who run up the stairs instead of heading out the front door. Who heads up the stairs instead of running out the front door. Just because you call people out on it doesn't mean you get away with it. Kevin Williamson. He's the writer. But, you know, that is part of your fight or flight. And sometimes your flight fucking sucks. And when it happens in a Friday the 13th movie, that's usually after it's when they call running the gauntlet. It's when you go out the back door, but there's somebody nailed to the back door. And usually a body comes through a window at some point. So you end up having to go up those stairs. It's guided. It's not like the stupidest thing possible. If the killer isn't supernatural, running right at them is the best way to throw them off balance. I agree. Like, there's movies are like a Midsummer when there's a group of people.
Okay, Hobbs,
And they're all.
knock it the fuck off.
Are you yelling at the cat?
No, I'm yelling at my stupid fucking gubernatorial race. Katie Hobbs is blowing up my work iPhone like I'm a fucking Democrat or some shit.
Jenny Hobbs says she said something the other day that was fucking stupid. I don't remember what it was.
Anything
though.
that falls out of that woman's face is stupid, so you're gonna have to try again.
Yeah. But if you're surrounded and like you're surrounded, like everyone is surrounding you, but they're like 50 feet away from you on every side, you do not try to run in between two people. You run directly at one person. If they're all perfectly spaced away from each other, you run at the wink link. That way, you only have to fight one person. If you try to cut the distance between two of them, you're going to end up having to get to two people. If you run directly at one person, then the two other people have to run the full distance to get to you, and you can get through that one person before you have to. Hopefully, you can get through that one person anyway. So that is the best way to cut down on those odds. Run at the one. I carry a gun because I cannot run for shit. Don't get me wrong, dangerous over short distances, but you'll never catch me, A, running upstairs, and B, running. But that's number 6. Number 7, let's split up, gang. Depending on what part of the movie you're at, the let's split up, gang is perfectly valid. If you're at the start of the movie and fucking Garrett goes missing, you're gonna end up splitting up into the people who care about him and me. Who the fuck is Garrett?
Oh, he dropped off a while ago.
No, you go look for him. We'll split up. If you're looking for a friend, there is a group that should stay home and a group that should go out, and that way half of you are satisfied when you find it. And that is, of course, before it becomes a horror movie. If, however, somebody is dead, you strengthen numbers. And my favorite use of this actual cliche or trope is in, I've already said it before, but Cabin in the Woods. They all decide to stay together and hunker down, and they release that chemical. They're like, no, we should split up. All go to our own rooms and hide individually. But also, depending on what you're doing, the let's split up gang is perfectly acceptable. Especially if you're a Scooby-Doo member.
But even they went off in teams.
Yeah, that's true. But a team is the best bet unless one of you is an alien organism, and then you are paired with an alien organism, right. And that is then you're both aliens. Congratulations.
Well, Fred was just trying to get rid of the dead weight. Get him some Daphne.
We don't need the coward or the lesbian. You two go together. Take that fucking dog with you. And I'm gonna try the "It Ain't Gonna Suck Itself" Daphne on this chick. Let's see how far we can go. Yeah, I don't. The split up gang. I mean, it really does. It does matter if like shit's time sensitive or if like there's a weather related thing. Like you don't all go out into the hurricane to make sure the girl's okay. You do split up in certain situations. It's perfectly acceptable. It makes sense. So depending on what that is, also if like half your crew's tired from being badasses the whole movie, they're gonna want to sit down for a minute. Accountability, buddy. Yeah. Well, no, they would be the thing. They would come back and they would both be things. If you split into groups of two, and one of you was the thing, they would infect the other one, and then you would both come back as things. So there would be no accountability issue there. Number 8, the Invincible Killer. Yeah, that is quite the issue, and you've seen it with fucking everybody.
Everything.
Like there's nothing worse than it's definitely there's like a tie between Freddy and Jason, especially after Jason 6.
Mike Myers, I think, more so than Freddy.
No, Freddy fucking cuts his own fingers off.
Well, it's because Freddy isn't real. That's the thing with Freddy.
Well, he's the most invincible. You can park a truck on Jason. Or Mike. You can't park a truck on a fucking idea.
That's true.
Especially one that turns into fucking... they went way too far in Freddy versus Jason. Not that I mind, per se, but... like, if I can't beat you with my 12-gauge shotgun, who can pass? I'll use that myself.
Yeah.
Nobody kills me with me!
It's time to start this thing for the win.
Yeah. You think you guys suck? Watch me suck. Like, nice Christmas sweater, and I'll fucking splat my brains all over it. Come on! So that's something you don't see in horror movies. An actual suicidal person. I'll feed myself this fucking pissed off goalie. You guys run. That's what horror movies are missing. The emo member.
Emo hero.
Yeah. Like you see that like a.
I've always wanted a beautiful death.
This is what I've been waiting for. Sorry, Mom and Dad. What movie was it? Kong Island. The guy was going to have a great death. He pulls 2 grenades off his belt, pulls the pins, releases the spoons, and just waits to get swallowed. And the fucking thing hits it with its tail, smashes him into the side of a mountain, and then his grenades go off. It's fucking great. I was like, oh, you ruined it. I could have been so good. Then they both act weird. Of course, that might mean that they weren't really acting weird in a thing though. Like, what was the movie they were acting weird in?
Scary.
No, well, yeah, yeah. Wrongfully accused, Spy Hard. What are these movies? Airplane. Hey, you're acting weird. Did that guy just floss his ears with a handkerchief? But no, they weren't used to anything such as smells or tastes, but other than that, they weren't acting particularly awkward, which is how it was hard to find out who was who. Creepy dolls is a trope. I don't know if I agree with this one.
Well, I mean, they made the Annabelle series for a fucking reason.
Well, yeah, and Chucky was one of the original of the creepy dolls, but Finders Keepers, The Boy, Annabelle. Um, oh, excuse me. I don't think that's particularly it. I don't really think that's the thing. I think they're stretching at this point.
Well, I mean, it's like clowns. Clowns and dolls are creepy.
Speaking of, we'll get to clowns in a minute after this because we're at 9. But Terrifier 2 comes out, and number 10 trope is well, it's cliche, is based on actual events. I agree with this. Like the Conjuring franchise, which is the Annabelle franchise, which is the Nun franchise, which is the Insidious franchise.
Okay. So, disclaimer: my wife's cousin's husband is the producer of those movies. So I'm just saying.
It's not like you have conflict of interest. How often do you hang out with your wife's cousin's husband's?
Never met the guy. I'm just saying, he's the guy who's the producer of those movies.
Oh well, they're cash grabs.
I will at some point share space with this man. So I'm just saying I'm going to excuse myself from these movies because while they are based on true events, the base is really, 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 really stretched.
Well, it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre technically is based on true events, and in a way, so is Nightmare on Elm Street. Technically, it depends on what based on actual events means.
Right. Like the Annabelle doll is a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
it doesn't look anything like it looks in the movies, but it is a real thing.
Well, it's a Raggedy Ann doll. It's exactly a Raggedy Ann doll. It's not like it looks like a Raggedy Ann doll. It's a Raggedy Ann doll named Annabelle. So they had to change it because they couldn't get the, Raggedy Ann has rights attached to her, or around her, about her. There's a copywriter. What is it? Intellectual property? What am I thinking of? Why you can't use something in a movie unless it's agreed to?
Licensing rights?
Yeah, I guess it would be licensing. So it can't be the Raggedy Ann, and they just picked a pretty good doll because it's fucking creepy. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Dead Silence. Is that the one I'm thinking of? Dead Silence. It might be the one I'm thinking of. There's two that are similar, and one is about a tooth fairy. Actually, they're both about tooth fairies, which is the weird part. One's got a doll, and it's got one's Dead Silence, and the other is Darkness Falls. That's the tooth fairy in the dark. Yeah. Okay, it's Dead Silence. Neither of those are based on real events, but yeah, it just. I mean, there is no comparing the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre to any part of Ed Gein's life. Ed Gein is a 5'2" water-headed retard, and not a 6-foot-something behemoth named Bubba. So you very quickly get away from the based on actual events type thing, and like the one thing that they have in common is human pottery, I guess, like a landscape, yardscaping, whatever you want to call it. But that's it's not based on real events. And, depending on like the Amityville or the Poltergeist or the whatever you want from it, just. Shit, you can say The Thing was based on real events if you're just talking about people going to Antarctica.
Well, the thing with the Amityville thing is that they're like, oh, Amityville horror based on real events. Yeah, except that the real scary part about Amityville is the shit that they never talk about. It's the shit that actually happened in that house. The real shit that happened before the family that the Amityville horror is based on moved in.
That part's true. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was the murder.
The family
The
before the
family
70s.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. They never tell that story, which is fucking horrendous because it's real and horrendous.
All right, so that's the 10 tropes, and you brought up clowns, and here's the best part: Art the Clown from Terrifier is in Terrifier 2, which is out right now.
Okay.
He also the guy who played Art the Clown is also playing a character in a movie coming out the 15th of December called Mean One.
Okay.
And it is the slasher horror movie about the Grinch.
Okay.
And the Grinch will be slaying the lovely citizens of the city of Newville.
Ah.
Probably because you didn't get the rights to Whoville. And he will be going up against the formidable Cindy you-know-who.
Cindy Lou Who?
I'm not sure what kind of rights they have. So I don't necessarily know if they're going to be calling him the Grinch or if it's going to be Cindy Lou Who. They haven't put out any trailers or anything yet that I'm aware of, but it should be interesting. Also coming out for I think it's actually coming out for Halloween instead of for Christmas is I forget what it's called, but it's there's a David Harbour Santa coming out where he stumbles on a home being held hostage for a vault that has many millions of dollars in it that they're breaking into, and the crew trying to clean out this vault from this home, run by John Leguizamo. But so it's David Harbour, John Leguizamo, and the fucking rest of the cast for some version of Santa Slaves that will be coming out about Santa, the regular Santa, kicking ass on Christmas night because of the girl, the daughter of the banker who's got the millions in his vault, was on his nice list.
Okay.
So it's literally like Under Siege, but on Christmas. And it's actual Santa Claus, even though Santa's Sleigh, starring Goldberg, was actually Santa Claus as well. So there is a little bit of like magicalness involved, but Santa is putting boot to ass.
Everybody loves a good Santa kick-ass story.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. I did think the Elf Squad from Santa Claus was cute, like the elite squad to rescue Santa.
Yeah.
And they had like a tinsel that could cut through
Steel.
Steel doors and jail cells. That was this elite squadron of little fucking elves. But we'll see how that one is. It looked cute, and David Harbour wasn't too David Harbour-y. And he wasn't too Hellboy, which was fucking atrocious.
Still
So you're lucky. So we will. I'm interested. It looks good, and he hasn't said anything stupid in a while, so I'm going to give it a shot when it does eventually come out. I can't think of the name of it though.
I keep hearing rumors that they're going to remake Attack of the Killer Clowns.
No, I think it's the sequel.
The Clown clowns are back. Didn't they blow up? Pretty sure they blew up.
Well, they're not the only clowns. Violent Night is what it's called.
Oh, there you go.
Which is like Silent Night, Deadly Night is a thing. So yeah, this cast is nobody. It's David Harbour, some fucking guy, John Leguizamo, Alexis Louder, Beverly D'Angelo.
Beverly D'Angelo?
Yeah.
Wow.
I still remember her boobs from European Vacation.
I remember them from Christmas Vacation.
Did you? Do you?
I do. Every year I remember that. On purpose.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess in European Vacation you get the full shot, so there's that. But they're nice, period.
Oh no, it's coming out December 2nd. So it's a Christmas movie. So it won't be coming out for Halloween. So I've got 2 movies. Would you look at that? Yeah. Nice. So there's also that to look forward to. The Christmas Vacation was the one with Juliette Lewis and John Galecki.
Yep. It's a John Hughes movie.
Yeah, it's just there's so many confusing which one's which. So many Rusties. So many Audreys. Hard to keep them all straight.
Pretty sure they get replaced every movie, don't they?
Probably. I don't think there was 2.
Because the first Rusty is Anthony Michael Hall.
From
Vacation.
Yeah. Who else was in those? Well, shit, they actually replaced him as Ed, because they have a second Vacation where it's where Rusty Griswold is takes his family on the Wild World trip, and it's Ed Helms,
Right.
and Christina Applegate's his wife, and Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo are in it. I don't know if Audrey is in it though. Speaking of, I tried to watch the new Walker Texas Ranger.
There's a new one.
Yeah, starring Jared Padalecki.
Okay.
Yeah, his partner is Latino, the first Latino Ranger. His boss is a black man who is very light skinned. Colby Bell plays the boss. He's a good guy usually and stuff. Her boyfriend, the partner, is black. Walker Cordell has a brother named William. He is gay with an Asian boyfriend. He was a family man, but his wife was murdered in the first episode, and he went on a extended. He's not Walker from Texas Ranger. He's not Chuck Norris. That's for damn sure.
Well, damn.
And they take away everything they can from the original Walker Texas Ranger as soon as they possibly can. Um, they're like, we know you like to handle things your way, and I'm like, you mean by the book? Like one riot, one ranger. You guys are supposed to kick ass. But he gets willfully neutered just as soon as possible. The daughter's an idiot. The son's a suck up. It's like, oh god, it's awful. Was model lady in red car in Christmas Vacation? Huh?
The hot chick from Christmas Vacation who was the clerk at the lingerie department in the department store was, or unless you're thinking of the model lady in the red car in the original Vacation, was Christy Brinkley.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I can't think of the hot chick from Christmas Vacation. She wore a red swimsuit when they had the pool, when he was fantasizing the pool scene. I can't think of who that actress is. I think she was just some French model.
Let's see. Model. Who's got the model? Bozo 1, Bozo 2, SWAT officer, cop, young executive, Clark, age 9, SWAT team sergeant, downtown shopper. Nope. Mrs. Shirley, Frank Shirley, delivery boy, Mary Nicolette Scorsese.
Maybe, I don't know.
Cousin Eddie, cousin Catherine, Francis, Art, Nora. Yeah, it's looking like it's. Yeah, she's the only attractive one. Nicolette Scorsese. Besides for Beverly D'Angelo.
I was gonna say Beverly D'Angelo was kind of hot, and not to sound like a pedo because she's my age, but at the time Juliette Lewis was still kind of a hottie.
Yeah, I never cared for Juliette Lewis. And somewhere between Cape Fear, Natural Born Killers, and From Dusk Till Dawn, it just sealed it for me. But yeah, I just don't care for her.
Okay.
Don't care for that bitch. But I never cared for Uma Thurman. Everyone loves her.
She's a weird one. She can look stunningly good, but on average, she's just weird looking. And she needs a sandwich.
Car salesman Eugene Levin, Frank McRae played Grover. John Candy was the guest at Wally World Lasky. Chrissy Brinkley, girl in the Ferrari. Cousin Vicky was played by Jane Krakowski. Cousin Dale was John P. Nevin Jr. Mickey Jones was the mechanic. Directed by Harold Ramis and a screenplay by John Hughes. Vacation 58 was a short story by John Hughes.
Wait a minute, you're telling me the first Vacation was a John Hughes movie?
Yeah, from a short story of John Hughes called Vacation 58.
Wow, I did not.
John Hughes also did the screenplay for European Vacation, but Amy Heckerling, whoever the hell that is, directed it. And that was with the Dana Hill as Audrey, and Jason Lively as Rusty. John Austin has a pig in the poke host. And William Zabka from Sweep the Leg fame played Jack. I don't remember Jack. Lederhosen, Cars and Fountains, hilarity ensues. Ellen calls Clark Sparky in all 4 Vacation movies. That's hilarious. In an interview, Chevy Chase said that after the film was released, he got dozens of letters from people who had visited London and ended up trapped in roundabouts. Dana Hill, Aubrey, died in 1996 from type 1 diabetes.
Oh, that's sad.
Eric Idle and Chevy Chase became friends after filming Wrapped. Shortly after release this movie, Idle and Chase began to work together on screenplay follow-up for National Lampoon's Australian Vacation. Shark-related gags ensued, and he ended up Project Getting Abandoned. In this film, the Griswolds were Griswolds with an A, when in the other Vacation movies, they were Griswolds with an O. That's important.
Okay.
I don't know, but Harold Ramis declined to return as the director for the movie because he was busy with Ghostbusters. Probably a good idea. Jason Lively, who played Rusty, is half-brother to actress Blake Lively. So Rusty is half related to Ryan Reynolds. Rowan Atkins
How old is
was...
Blake Lively? She can't be that old. She's got to be early 30s, maybe?
Yeah, well, half brother.
Oh.
So, yeah, second mom. Explains why she's cute. Yeah, what was the fourth movie? Vegas Vacation. Yeah, that movie was the pits.
Boo.
Yeah, wasn't written or directed or having anything to do with John Hughes, but also Ethan Embry was Rusty, and Marisol Nichols was Audrey. Those were the cutest of the groupings together. Siegfried and Roy were in it. Wallace Shawn was in it. Chrissy Brinkley was the one of Ferrari again. But actually, I want to know what's going on with this Fletch movie.
There's another Fletch?
I told you about that.
Is Chevy Chase involved?
No.
I don't trust modern Hollywood to do Fletch right.
Let's see if this is even the right one.
Stop ripping up my chair. Oh, God. After becoming the prime suspect in multiple murders, Fletch strives to prove his innocence
while simultaneously searching for his fiance's stolen art collection. And Irwin M. Fletcher is played by John Hamm.
No. Nope, I'm out.
Yep. I mean, the cast is notably better, but it's also half the cast of everything John Hamm's ever been in. But Patricia Gay Harden is the Countess. I'm assuming Lorenza Izzo is the Mrs. She's the hottest person on here. The odd chuckle, but ultimately disappointing. It's got a 6.5 out of 10. Mild nudity, mild gore, moderate profanity, mild drugs, alcohol, and smoking.
So is this thing out already?
There's critiques of it.
Well, the critics always watch.
You can rent or buy it for $19.99. So apparently it's
not going to be buying that movie. I was pleasantly surprised by Fletch and Fletch Lives. So
release date was September 16th. Yeah. So worldwide gross is $538,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's one hell of a flop.
Well, I mean, it's been out for a month, and did you hear anything about it?
Nope, didn't hear a thing.
Yeah.
Marketing was non-existent for that thing, probably because they knew they had a turd on their hands.
Yeah. Yeah, Vegas Vacation on the Hottest Audrey. Dear God. I just can't. I just can't with this shit. Oh my God, they're gonna ruin it so bad. What is The Rock gonna do with the old Jack?
Yeah, he needs to not. They keep threatening, and luckily I don't think they've ever managed to put anything together, and they need to stop right now.
Well, I'm wondering if they're gonna, because Chevy Chase made Fletch his own. So I'm wondering if it's going to be a completely different kind of Fletch movie. If he's going to be more charming, charismatic, and flirty than he was in. I do love the Fletch. He walks into that cabana and finds the girl in the towel. He's like, "Get a water buffalo. I need your towels." There was a movie titled Fletch 1, which was the first Fletch movie without the original star Chevy Chase and would have starred Jason Lee under the direction of Kevin Smith. That fell through and it went to Joshua Jackson and was going to be another director before it fell through.
Okay, so controversial opinion here. Kevin Smith is a horrible human being. Stop. He's a horrible human being.
Okay.
But
be careful.
He occasionally pops out a magnificent movie.
Okay. I mean, we're not putting him on the same level of Rob Reiner.
No, Rob Reiner is just a good director, period. He's a fucking moron, but he's a good director. He should just direct. And as long as he just directs, I'm okay with Meathead.
Yeah.
The second he tries to do literally anything else, he's fucking Meathead and needs to be pointed at and laughed at.
Kevin Smith is somewhere on the scale between Michael Moore and
Meathead.
Meathead.
That's fair. Chasing
So,
Amy
like-
is still an amazing movie.
Yeah, Dogma, also
Dogma's
really
a pretty
good.
good movie.
Clerks.
Clerks is amazing, yeah.
Don't particularly care for Mallrats, even though it's probably one of the quippier, the funnier ones with the lines and the reoccurring sex in uncomfortable places being the backseat of a Volkswagen.
Right.
But even though it's supposed to be her butthole, but there's little things that he harps on too much that are just annoying.
Yes.
Um,
Well, and I will say this too. Once he went full stoner, his quality decreased, just galactically decreased after that. Because when he made Clerks and Clerks 2 and Mallrats and Chasing Amy and Dogma and Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, he wasn't really a pot smoker. He might have occasionally toked some weed, but he wasn't like a full-blown stoner.
I don't know. I think Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back might have been the beginning of that.
Might have been the beginning of that, yeah. But, I mean, he wasn't a full-time pothead. He was mostly still a writer and...
Not that I didn't enjoy the hell out of the cock blocker being
The
played by
cock
Mark
knocker.
Hamill.
Cock
Cock
knocker.
knocker. Being played by Mark Hamill in this pseudo George Lucas parody. That was amusing on a couple of levels you can see and a couple levels you couldn't see.
Correct.
George Lucas gonna sue somebody.
Well, that and they had, they had Vanderbeek playing Vanderbeek.
Yeah.
Just there was some quality jabs in that movie, and he is yet to reattain that. Clerks 2 was kind of his last hurrah, I think.
Yeah. I am wholly disappointed in whatever they want to call He-Man.
Right. No, and he's again turned to weed full time and lost the plot. And is just a Hollywood sycophant at this point. So screw him. Whatever. That being said, if you can sober him up, he can pop out a good movie, and I think that a Fletch movie from Kevin Smith, if he's not fucking high, might hold some potential.
Maybe as a writer, not as a director.
He's competent as a director. I wouldn't say he's great, but I mean he's no Rob Reiner, that's for sure. But he's definitely better than some.
Red State was interesting, but Tusks and Yoga Hosers, Cop Out.
I like Yoga Hosers because Yoga Hosers is not serious in any way, shape, or form.
I'm pretty sure he was very animate about the bratwurst Nazis.
Yes.
But not worse zombies.
Nazis, yes. It's literally a fever dream that was created out of an offhand comment on a podcast. Same with Tusk, really.
Tusk, probably. Yeah.
But a lot of people forget that Johnny Depp did do Yoga Hosers.
Johnny Depp did Yoga Hosers because his daughter did Yoga Hosers.
Correct.
But let's not forget, Johnny Depp did the 21 Jump Street remake.
Which was actually better than it should have been.
And I appreciated when they popped out. I was like, son of a bitch. That's great. I was having issues. I'm looking at this guy like, what the fuck is going on here? But I did not put it together at all.
And Dom DeLuise's kid, whose name I can never remember, who was also in 21 Jump Street, did it too. Peter DeLuise? Is it Peter DeLuise?
Well, that's one of them, and I think yes. but he's got Peter, David, and Michael. And Michael is the youngest, and is an actor, like just not a great actor, but an actor. And then David is a director, and a hell of a director, but TV episodes, a lot of probably if you have a science fiction TV show and you had one you really like, it might have been directed by David DeLuise. But then Peter did his acting thing, as an idiot, and now he does screenwriting and producing, but also directs some TV sometimes. But he's definitely not under the in front of the camera anymore because of he has the face of an idiot. He's all right, but he's got the face of an idiot.
Well, that can work for you sometimes, I guess.
Well, yeah, Sean
Astin?
No.
Because Sean Astin has the same face.
It's Stifler. I can't think of his name.
Yeah, but have you ever seen Goon?
Yeah, but I didn't pay attention.
Okay. It makes you... I hated Stifler as a character, so every time he showed up in a movie, I was like, oh god, this fucking guy again. Then I watched Goon, and I was like, okay, this guy's amazing. And now I get what he's doing in the American Pie movies and as the Stifler character. I get it now. And now,
Sean William Scott.
Yeah, I appreciate him much more now.
Why?
Watch Goon.
What did I clearly miss?
Have you not seen Goon?
I have seen Goon.
It's just a completely different take from everything else that he's typecast as.
Doesn't he suffer injury and gets replaced by Lee Shriver?
It's been a while. I have to go back and watch. I'm pretty sure he just plays a goon. What it means to be a hockey goon. Which is completely unlike anything Stifler-esque, so...
Well, he was in The Rundown.
I don't think I've seen that.
With The Rock?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one.
He played an archaeologist. Oh, God, it was terrible. He was also in Bulletproof Monk.
That I did see, and yeah, that struck me as odd. That was before I'd seen Goon. So I wasn't into it. I wasn't willing to give him a chance.
Crazy old dude in his walrus costume was hilarious as fuck. Somebody was making a comment. I think it was Tim Pool made a comment about it the other day, talking about Tusk and how he ends up at the end in an aquarium, and they're just throwing him fish. And he made the comment. He's like, "He's still a regular guy. Throw him a cheeseburger." It's like, excellent point, Tim Pool. That's fucking stupid. Throw him a cheeseburger. Throw him a whole pizza. He's a regular dude. Just drop pizzas down his gullet. He'll need the blubber for winter. Throw in a milkshake. I miss freak shows. We used to have this underground freak show that would come to the outskirts of Detroit. And it'd be like a yearly thing. You'd only hear about it the day before it was there. So you have to grab up all your fucking weird friends and go to this thing, and there was always body modification shit and interesting other topics. But always some chick with a snake who was way too hot. She's a girl, but she likes reptiles. Freak show. But there always be something like walking on blades, or really, really grotesque magic tricks and stuff. They were always enjoyable. Plus the oddities. You know,
Right.
they were always fun to me, dude. It spoke to my inner what the hell? I like that. Wouldn't squee or ask for autographs.
Right mood.
Yeah. Be mad going to a freak show.
This just
You
pisses
change.
me off. What the hell is this?
Where the fuck doesn't he have any fingers on that hand? Fucking flipper boy. How come the dog man just looks like he's drank a bottle of Rogaine? This is some bullshit. He doesn't even lift his leg when he pees. I don't think the strong man's as strong as he thinks he is. Also, another interesting was the I forget what their name was, but it was a couple of bodybuilders who Power Team, maybe I think was their name, and they broke shit for the Lord.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was from like the late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah, like late '90s. Yeah, they were like, they're like, Jesus Christ gives me the power to roll this frying pan into a burrito.
Yep.
Like the power of the Lord allows me to throw my shoulder through 6 feet of fucking frozen ice. I'm like, technically it's like 4 feet because those are 8-inch blocks spaced 4 inches apart.
And they'd rip up phone books for the Lord.
Yeah. Have a police officer handcuff them with handcuffs they were given by the team, which are still legit handcuffs. They're not police issue handcuffs, because that shit would get expensive. They're like $30 handcuffs instead of the police department's $60 handcuffs. No need for keys. I'll be getting out of these a different way. Just probably, I would fucking die to go to a circus right about now. I'd kill somebody I didn't like.
The last time I went to the Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey Greatest Show on Earth circus, I was disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't nearly as good as it was when I was a child.
Well, how much of that is your fault?
Well, some of it for sure. But yeah, it just wasn't. It wasn't as jam packed full of stuff. Like there was less variety because, nobody's gonna bank their future on being a circus act, so they're fewer and further between. And the show was, I remember the circus as a kid being like 3 or 4 hours long for the main show.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had side shows and shit. This one was just one show, and it was like an hour and a half long. They tried
One show the whole night?
Yeah.
I could see like an hour and a half show, like 3
2
shows.
hours. Maybe it was like 2 hours, but it was like they had a lion act, they had an elephant act, they had a zebra act, they had a trapeze act, and they had some knockoff clowns. That was basically it.
Well, can you even have an elephant anymore? Or a lion act?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, Siegfried and Roy still have lions and tigers in Vegas.
Yeah, they don't have an act anymore.
Well, yeah, Roy's kind of, come down with a small case of death. So,
yeah.
I think they're both dead now, aren't they?
No, Siegfried's probably, or Roy's probably still alive.
Well, Roy was the one that got ate up.
Well, Siegfried's probably still alive. You sure? I think Siegfried
Pretty
was
sure.
the one.
No, I'm pretty sure it was Roy that got ripped up.
Siegfried and Roy. German duo, Larder. Were Siegfried and Roy lovers?
Duh.
No, they each were married to a cat, apparently.
Good excuse.
Siegfried succumbed to pancreatic cancer he was 81. Left side paralysis. His windpipe was crushed, placed on a ventilator, unable to swallow or speak. In late October. So, is Roy alive or?
Pretty sure Roy was the one that got munched by a tiger, and then Siegfried died of pancreatic cancer. And I don't know if Roy's still alive or not. I don't think he is.
Okay, Roy died in May of 2020 at 75, and Siegfried died in January 2021 at 81.
Okay.
They both died in Vegas and were both born in Germany. The Greater German Reich. So he managed to live like 17 years after the
attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and the tigers were always on display. They never stopped having the tigers on display at the Mirage in Vegas. Matter of fact, I think they're still there.
Mm.
So whoever's caretaking the estate probably still has a deal for them to be there at the Mirage.
Yeah. What happened after it became the basis of other program? Right before its release, the series was canceled. Their embassy to continue producing it. Yada. Stage 2 finally appeared in medical. Oh, Medicore died at 17. Poor Medicore. Yeah, they were adamant that the actually Maynard says that they claimed he was trying to protect him and got spooked. And it's perfectly acceptable when you're a 500-pound fucking cat. You pulling someone in to protect them is still ripping their goddamn face off. It's the same reason they shot Harambe. They not necessarily thinking that the gorilla was going to physically damage the child out of anger or hate or anything, but even protecting that child, he still would have ripped his arm off. It's a fucking 500-pound gorilla.
Yeah. This just reminds me, I need to get out to Vegas and see Penn and Teller before there is no more Penn and Teller.
Yeah. I love Teller. I was at a magic show and he was gaslighting me by only talking to me the whole time and like very quiet words. I'm like, I think you're fucking with me, sir.
One of my favorite things is a picture of him on the internet and says, "Nobody can say this in my voice."
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how to say this in my voice. Aw.
Oh, accurate.
It's true.
They actually he played Penny's or not Penny's dad, Amy Farrah Fowler's dad in Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And her mom was played by Kathy Bates. And the first episode that they were in together was Sheldon and Amy's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And every time he went to talk, his wife cut him off. And I was like, it's pretty funny. And then he had talking, and I was like, oh, you're talking. This makes it less special. He was hiding from his wife. It was actually pretty funny.
Well, you want him to have like a distinct voice like Penn does, or something that you could say, "Oh, okay, well that's Teller."
It would have been great if he was like a baritone or something.
Yeah, no, he's just got an average voice. You couldn't tell him from anybody.
It's a clear voice. He's actually well spoken.
Right. It's just the shtick is that when he's in public, he just doesn't talk.
Yeah. There was he did have this stupid thing, and it was kind of cute, kind of stupid. Howard did a magic trick, and Teller was really impressed by it and wanted to learn magic. I'm like, oh, we get it. What really bugs me is he's legitimately one of the best close-up magic performers on the planet, and you never see him do close-up magic. It's like, you hurt my soul, sir.
Well, I mean, how many years did he do that before he was famous?
Yeah, it's fair enough. I mean,
like 30?
I've been doing it for 30, and I'm not famous. So
right.
Kudos to
Yeah.
the
Literally, it took running into a freaking mutant freak and partnering up with him before he, managed to, being the best or not. He probably is. But that didn't matter at all until he, teamed up with a mutant freak.
I would have loved to hear Penn talk about magic. I've been like, calm down, you're a mentalist.
Well, it tickles me to no end that he was the voice of Comedy Central for 2 decades. That was Penn's main gig for 2 decades. He was just the voice of Comedy Central.
All right, it's 11:20. I think we can get out of here.
Okay.
See if we can't get anything going in after hours, or if I'm gonna go to my my movie list for the week, which still won't have Edge of Tomorrow on it. Damn it. But it's in the queue.
Alrighty then.
That wasn't supposed to be there. Where is the... Come on, man.
Well, say goodnight while you're looking.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Well, I believe in good vibrations is what creates a beautiful nation. All you need is the will.